Toys R Us, how the world's biggest toy store lost its magic. There was a time when childhood had an address. A place where the sound of laughter echoed through aisles of dreams. A place where magic came in cardboard boxes wrapped in bright plastic. That place was Toys R Us. For over half a century, it wasn't just a store. It was a kingdom, a sanctuary of imagination, where kids ruled, and parents, for a brief moment, remembered what it felt like to be one. But behind the wonder, behind the giraffe and the jingles, lay a story of ambition, debt, and denial. The story of how a giant rose from nothing, and how it all came crashing down. This is not just the story of a company, it's the story of an era, and the warning it left behind. Our story begins in 1948, Washington, D.C. A young entrepreneur named Charles Lazarus had a simple idea. If America was about to have babies, millions of them, someone had to sell them what they'd need. His first store, Children's Bargain Town, sold cribs, strollers, and furniture. But Lazarus noticed something. Parents might not buy another crib for the next baby, but they'd always come back for toys. And that was his aha moment. Lazarus envisioned something revolutionary. A supermarket for toys. Not just a few shelves in a corner shop, but a vast warehouse where dreams came to life in plastic and paint. And in 1957, that dream became reality. The first Toys R Us opened its doors. Bright colors, wide aisles, the smell of new toys in the air. This wasn't just shopping, it was an experience. While others sold toys as a side business, Toys R Us made it its world. And with every grand opening across America, the legend grew. By the 1970s and 80s, Toys R Us was more than a store. It was an institution. A place where birthdays began, where Christmas lists took shape, and where every aisle held a promise. Geoffrey the Giraffe became a household name. The slogan became a childhood anthem. And Charles Lazarus became the undisputed king of toys. By the 1990s, the empire spanned more than 1,400 stores across the globe. The company generated billions in annual sales, dominating the industry like never before. It was the golden age, the high point of the dream. For an entire generation, Toys R Us wasn't just a store you went to. It was a memory you carried with you. The smell of fresh plastic. The sparkle in your eyes when you turned the corner and saw the bike of your dreams. That was Toys R Us. It was magic, tangible, real, and wrapped in a shiny red bow. But even kingdoms built on dreams can crack. And in the early 2000s, the ground beneath this toy empire began to tremble. The age of innocence was ending. A new kind of shopping, faster, cheaper, digital, was about to rewrite the rules. At the dawn of the new millennium, the world was changing faster than anyone could imagine. Shopping was no longer just about visiting stores. It was about clicking, comparing, and buying, from the comfort of home. But inside the toy kingdom, the warning signs went unnoticed. By 2005, Toys R Us was still massive, but its magic had begun to fade. Competitors like Walmart and Target were selling the same toys, often cheaper. Online, a newcomer called Amazon was quietly rewriting retail forever. Instead of adapting, Toys R Us made a fateful decision. A financial deal that would change everything. In 2005, a group of private equity firms, Bain Capital, KKR, and Vornado Realty Trust, bought Toys R Us for $6.6 billion. But they didn't pay for it themselves. They borrowed it, using the company's own assets as collateral. It was called a leveraged buyout. And it loaded Toys R Us with billions in debt. Each year, hundreds of millions of dollars went not to innovation, not to stores, not to employees, but to interest payments. The company was bleeding money before it even opened its doors. And as the debt grew, something else began to die. The ability to dream. Kids on smartphones, parents scrolling through online stores, delivery boxes piling up on porches. As the world moved online, Toys R Us stood still. Its website lagged behind. Its stores grew old. What was once a wonderland began to feel empty. While Walmart and Target expanded digital sales, Toys R Us relied on nostalgia. But nostalgia doesn't pay bills. For years, they'd been the toy destination. Now, people were buying toys without ever leaving home. And then came the holiday seasons, once the most magical time of year. But now, a test the company could no longer pass. With billions in debt, Toys R Us couldn't afford to reinvent itself. Stores went years without renovations. Web upgrades were delayed. Marketing campaigns looked the same as they did a decade earlier. It was as if the company had hit pause on a world that had moved on. Meanwhile, debt payments kept coming, hundreds of millions, year after year. The company wasn't just losing customers. It was losing time. On September 18, 2017, after years of struggle, Toys R Us filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. It was official, the giant had fallen. The company owed nearly $5 billion, more than it could ever repay. But there was still hope. Executives promised a fresh start, a restructuring. They said the stores would stay open. But hope is fragile when trust is gone. As news of bankruptcy spread, vendors pulled back. Suppliers stopped shipping toys unless paid up front. And the shelves began to empty. By March 2018, the dream was over. The company announced liquidation, closing all U.S. stores. More than 30,000 employees lost their jobs. Thousands of communities lost their favorite childhood landmark. It was more than a business failure. It was the end of an era. For generations, Toys R Us had been a part of growing up. Now, it was a part of growing old, a memory. Even after the lights went out, the spirit of Toys R Us refused to disappear. Investors bought the name, hoping to bring it back. In 2019, a smaller, redesigned Toys R Us opened in New Jersey. Another followed in Houston. They were bright, interactive, smaller in scale, designed for a new generation. It wasn't the same empire, but it was something new. A spark of what once was. And maybe, that's the point. Toys R Us wasn't just a company that sold toys. It was a symbol of joy, imagination, and possibility. There are lessons in the fall of every giant. For Toys R Us, those lessons came too late. But for others, they're still being written. Number 1 *** debt kills innovation. When a company's future is mortgaged, there's no room left to dream. Number 2 *** adapt or die. Even the biggest brands can vanish if they fail to evolve with their customers. Number 3 *** nostalgia isn't strategy. It can make you loved, but it can't make you last. For millions of children, Toys R Us was more than a store. It was a feeling. The thrill of picking your first bike. The smell of a brand new game console. The sound of that jingle playing through the speakers. As your childhood whispered, "Don't grow up just yet." But time always moves forward. And so must we. Toys R Us was born from a dream, and ended as a lesson. That even magic, when burdened by debt and denial, can fade. But in the hearts of those who grew up under its bright lights, Geoffrey the Giraffe still lives on. Dedicated to every Toys R Us kid who never really grew up. ****